All right. Just filmed episode 1 of the podcast, and that was on just basically being a hustler and overall entrepreneurship and kind of my story of my life. And I wanted to get this video on me, but I forgot to do it. So I'll do it from here on out just to have the footage and see what happens with it later. Maybe I'll use some of it for social media. It was really more the story of my life, so this sort of stuff will be more useful for the everyday person. Okay, I'm going to dive in and talk a little bit on the second one. Hey guys, Mr. Jack Cassio here. Welcome to episode number 2 of Teachers Hate Me. Now, in the last episode, I broke down what it takes to be a hustler, what lateral thinking is. So be sure you check that one out and you listen to it and then send it to the biggest hustler that you know. Now, this episode, I'm going to talk about how to be effective, how to get things done, the right things done. A lot of you don't start anything or finish anything or stick to anything because you don't have a process and you're doing things that don't matter. Everyone thinks that if you start something, it has to be perfect, and then you don't put it out until it is perfect, but then you don't ever put it out because it's never good enough for you. So I forgot who it was. There was a quote, I believe it was Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal, and his quote is, if you're not embarrassed by your MVP, your minimum viable product, your beta, your first draft, if you're not embarrassed by it, you move too slow. You were too slow. So if you're going to start something, if you're going to do something, move fast. Just get it done. Get feedback. The best thing that I do, so I run a company called Twice the Speed. And what that is, I explained it in the first episode, but for those of you who are just listening to this one, it's a strength and conditioning company online. I started it in 2009, and I sell products on how to run faster, jump higher, eat properly, get a college scholarship, anything for a high school athlete. And one of the things that made me move so quick, and I was posting videos back in 2009 on YouTube, so that helped a lot, being ahead of the curve. And that's kind of why I'm here with this podcast. Like I have so much to say, but I don't, and I say it on a daily basis, but I'm not recording. I don't record it. So I'm starting to record it so I can start putting out that information to help as many people as I can. But one of the things I did with Twice Speed that a lot of people didn't do who were trying to create information products online or sell things online was I just moved quick. I didn't wait for things to be perfect. And still, I was actually just editing some videos because I'm rebranding and redoing a bunch of things at Twice Speed. And I could actually video document some of that too on my social media and show you guys inside my business as well. Just let me know if you want to see that and I'll do it. But I was actually editing some of the videos today and looking back at how I did it. I haven't even changed it at all. Like I haven't changed anything since I'm 30 now. I haven't changed it in 10 years or 8, 9, 10 years. And people still love it. There's no refunds. The number one workout that I had, the most refunded workout, was the one I tried getting perfect on. So just think about that. I spent a bunch of money on cameras, or a camera crew. I had a boom mic. There was literally a director like, scene, boom, and he'd hit the clack thing, and then I would do the scene. I hired 3 or 4 people to help me with the project, spent a bunch of money, 2 different camera angles, made it look beautiful. Guess what? Highest refund rate I have ever had in business. I got too flashy. I had a system that worked. I had a digital camera. It was a piece of shit camera that the videos aren't even that good of quality. I was filming my videos, but people were consuming my information better with the shit quality. The videos were just more straightforward. It wasn't that I half-assed it. It was just I didn't put in a ton of time because I didn't know if it would work. So I only told them the things that they needed. That's called being effective. So that's what this podcast is about. I'm going to be effective in teaching you the information that you need. And there's 2 books that I want to recommend to you guys. If you're listening to this, the first book, if you're watching it, I'm holding up the book right now, but the first book is the 80-20 Principle by Richard Koch. And what that is, it's basically 80% of results in your life, 80% of the outcome comes from 20% of the input. So for example, I'll give you a real life example that I actually witnessed in Twice the Speed. I started my YouTube channel, like I said, back in 2009. I looked up all my videos that I ever created in Twice the Speed. There was like 250 videos. And then I broke down how many views I got per video. So out of the 250, I looked at the top 20%. The top 20% is the 50 videos. I then calculated how many views the top 50 videos made. So my 20%, right? It was 79%. 79% of my outcome, my views, came from 20% of my videos. So then what did I do in twice the speed? I looked at those 20% videos. I figured out what was making them go more viral. What was getting people to view them? Was it my thumbnail? Was it the content that I was talking about? Was it the intro? Maybe it didn't have an intro. So I found out all these different things. I literally broke it down to the point where I would watch myself talk on camera and look at the audience retention, and I would see where people were dropping off. And in the 20% videos, the top videos on my channel, people weren't dropping off until later in the video because I would jump right into the exercises. So in the top 20%, I noticed my intros were shorter. So then I started creating all my videos with a shorter intro. So instead of, hey guys, jackcassio@twicespeed.com, and then talking about a couple things, and then talking about a couple more things, and then getting into the exercise, it was, hey guys, jackcassio@twicespeed.com. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 exercises that'll help your hamstrings. Let's get into it. Boom, and I get right into it. So that was the difference, and it was a big game changer. It took my lead gen from 150 to 175 a day. I was getting over 300 leads a day, sometimes over 500 leads a day, just because I changed up my intro. And that's the same thing I tell with some of the influencers that I work with. A lot of you guys are probably here from Big Dawes, and Big Dawes and I work on a couple of projects, and we talk about that all the time. I'm an addict to look at the data and to look at the analytics behind video and behind websites on what works, what makes things work. So, and that's one of the things I tell Dawson, I tell Professor, I tell anyone that I've worked with. It's the same thing. Be as effective as possible. Find out what people want quick. So the quicker you can fail, the quicker that you can iterate, and the quicker you can make changes, and the quicker then you can grow. So right now I'm in the process of doing that in my current business. For the first time, I don't know why, I should be kicking myself. I'm actually creating a separate brand, or I shouldn't say brand, separate sales funnel for just parents, because I've always targeted only kids. Like YouTube, most of the kids are finding my stuff. Instagram, Snapchat, they're all finding me on those social media platforms. Well, now I'm creating a paid traffic funnel where I'm actually able to target the parents, and I'm targeting the parents. So what was the first thing that I did? I created a Facebook group called TTS Speed Training Parents. So now I'm running this funnel. I built it in one day. I put in $50 of ad spend, and I've already made like $550 off of $50. So I've already 10x my ad spend, but now I'm tweaking things based on what I'm seeing. That could be a whole nother episode, how to create like online stores and information. But I created this group, and I started asking the parents questions. I started asking them, what do you look for in training? And I actually got my headline for my ad. My ad for that specific funnel was, if your kid runs awkward, these 3 tips will help them tremendously. Because most of the parents were like, well, I just don't think my kid runs properly. I don't think my kid looks right when he runs or she runs. And that was a big pain point and a big thing. So I took that. All it was a conversation that I had, a quick conversation, and then I iterated and then turned it into an actual product. And now I'm going to scale it up as its own company. So essentially, I started a brand new company last week. Call it Sales Funnel. Like, I have the branding and the testimonials and the social proof already. And a lot of you guys listening probably don't have anything just yet, but it doesn't take very long to get started. If you just start asking the proper questions, then you will start to be able to iterate and make those changes. And the reason I recommend the 80-20 principle is exactly that. It'll start to weed out the uncertainty, and it'll make you realize that you don't have to be perfect, and it actually hurts to be perfect. The more perfect you are, the slower you move, the quicker someone gets there. If you're trying to be perfect and create a social media network, you're never going to get there. You need to just get there, break it, iterate. And that's big in the tech world. And this is actually another book. I'll talk about another episode. It's just funny because it's sitting here, Lean Startup, and that's all about the tech world and MVPs, minimum viable products. But yeah, so the first one is 80-20 principle. The next one is 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. I love it. I love Tim Ferriss's content. I think he's brilliant. The 4-Hour Workweek it builds off of the 80-20 principle. He believes in the Pareto's law, which is the 80-20 principle, as well as me. And I think most successful entrepreneurs really have to believe in the 80-20 principle, because it's what drives everything. You know, you don't want to spend time on things that don't matter. Don't just work to be busy. Like, I'm going to grind today. I'm going to grind my ass. I'm going to work my ass off today. Like, when you have that mentality and you're working your ass off on the things that don't matter, congrats. You just spent 12 hours of your time doing something that doesn't matter, that people don't want. Why not spend 20 minutes asking people questions of what they do want, and then spend 30 minutes creating what they want? That is being effective. You only worked 1 hour, and then go out. Have a good time. Party your voice. go out with your girls, go work out, go travel, go do whatever you want to do, because you spent an hour doing things that 10x your life, that actually was multiples. Spending 12 hours just sitting there trying to learn how to upload a web page and do this and that. Like, don't waste your time on that. Waste your time on the bigger thing. Waste your time on the things that are going to give you 5, 10, 20 times multiples of your time. And that's kind of what 4-hour work week does as well. Like, I basically live my life on the 4-hour work week and 80-20. A little bit less now. I work a lot more now just because I have my systems down, I have my processes down, and I do so many different things. I have 5 joint venture partnerships in different sports. I started an e-commerce company. I do affiliate traffic for different things for banks, and I have twice the speed. I'm starting this podcast, so I'm doing a lot of different things. So I really have to watch my time. So now I really do work full time or more, but it's what I want to do. I'm choosing to do it. If I only wanted to work 4 hours a week, I could, but I enjoy it, and I understand the proper things to actually be focusing on a daily basis. So being effective is key. And if you're in the situation right now where you don't know what to do, you don't know how to find your passion or how to monetize your passion, then you just need to start asking questions. What are you good at? What do you love talking about? So I started this podcast. I don't know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to make money off it, if I'm going to monetize it, or what's going to happen. I really don't care, but I love talking about this shit. I really do. I love it. I love it. I love it. I could sit here and talk about business and life stories and books and networking and how I had these tipping points in my career. I could talk about that all day. So I figured, why not just start a podcast, talk, see what happens, see where it takes me. And the reason I'm really doing it is because I want to see the feedback from the people listening. If this helps you, just tell me, because it's going to make me create more content. Like, I'm gonna become infatuated with doing this. The more I hear good feedback, the more I hear people actually taking what I say and then implementing it. I cannot wait for the first person to tell me, yo, I listened to episode 2 and it helped me. Like, I stopped focusing on the being perfect, and I just started getting shit done, and I started making money, and I started having better relationships. I started freeing up my time. That's what I want to hear. So every episode, I'm really, really, really hoping that you guys take it and consume it. But more than that, don't just listen. And I've gotten into this phase too, where you just listen to a bunch of shit and then you kind of forget about it. Listen to this right now and think about what you love to do, what you love talking about. Could be cars. If it's cars, ask 5 of your friends, like, yo, would you buy this off of me if I came out with it? And then they're like, no. If all 5 say no, then think about something else. Think about something else related to cars. Maybe starting a YouTube channel for cars isn't what you should be doing. Maybe your friends don't care about YouTube content with cars, but maybe your friends do want help purchasing their next car. So maybe one of the 5 is actually looking for a used car, but they don't know how to look at a depreciation schedule or how to actually analyze the car if it's going to lose value in the first year or whatever. And I actually had a meeting with one of my business partners about that. And it's like, there's so much knowledge about cars, and there's so many ways to monetize it. And you can just hit up your friend and be like, how about if I save you over $2,000 in your car, you give me $500, done. And then you start working for them and finding them the right car, how to negotiate and all that. And you can make $500. That's your first start of your business. Have them PayPal you. Now you have $500 to spend on whatever you want related to your business. You have a business. How much time did you spend? A text message. It took you one text. And then you'll have to spend some time on, Auto Trader or cars.com or whatever you would look. But it took you 10 seconds to send that text. Find people. There are people who would be willing to pay you. So it's all about being the most effective possible. So as always, I'm going to give you guys homework for today. The homework for today is head over to teachershateme.com/free. And I'm going to give away my ultimate textbook, which these 2 books are actually in it, the 80-20 principle and the 4-hour work week. They're both in it. But I actually break down the best chapter that you should be reading, that you should instantly consume, because it's going to help your life the most. So I break down the 11 chapters that you need. You could literally download 11 books or buy 11 books, read those 11 chapters, and it's literally going to change your life. From a business standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, just your overall brain will be completely rewired from these 11 chapters. So go over there and do that. And it really, really, really helps me if you guys subscribe to the podcast and rate the podcast. Go into the iTunes store, wherever you're listening to this, be sure to rate the podcast and just let me know. If you want to rate 1 star, cool. I don't care. If you want to rate, I just want feedback. You see, like, this whole episode is about iterating and asking people their opinion and then making changes based on that. So I really, really, really want your opinion on this episode and on kind of what I'm doing with this whole podcast. Yes, I know there's only 2 episodes, but if there's anything that I can work on, change, add, talk about, topics, just go rate it and leave your comment there, and I'll actually shout out some of the comments. So be sure that you go do that. Now, this was episode 2, how to be effective the right way. Now, be sure, subscribe, rate, and I'll talk to you guys soon.